How can you be upset with her when you told her not to come to your family's Thanksgiving, so she made other plans? Hey guys, welcome back to Chaotic Commentary. In honor of the upcoming holiday, today we're going to be looking at some Thanksgiving stories. Let's get into it. Am I the asshole for telling my wife that she can stay home this Thanksgiving? My wife is a grade A picky eater. It's bothersome to a certain degree, but on holidays, basically the shit show begins. She refused to eat certain meals and mom would take it personally, which results in a series of arguments between them. As a compromise this year, my wife offered to bring her own food to Thanksgiving dinner. I was stunned and asked if she thought this through, and she looked at me confused. I told her about how weird it would be for her to bring her own food, especially when she wouldn't be sharing it with anybody else, and told her to think about how my mom will react. She'd get very offended and upset. My wife said that it's not her problem, that she was just trying to make it work by bringing her own meal. I told her again that my mom might not like nor even allow this. She blew up at me asking if I want her to either eat food she doesn't like or go hungry. I suggested she gives my mom food a chance, but she said it wasn't about my mom's cooking. She just doesn't like certain foods. We had an argument and I ended up telling her she could stay home this Thanksgiving and have whatever meal she likes. She got quiet and lashed out at me, calling me insensitive and negative to say this to her. I repeatedly asked her to calm down, but she couldn't stop ranting about how I was basically willing to exclude her from a major event. You are excluding her from a major event. She started cold shouldering me about it while at the same time guilting me, saying I was treating her poorly after she offered the perfect compromise. Okay, so before I read the update, I feel like it is a good compromise. Here's the thing, I understand you might be offended by someone not liking your cooking, but the wife said that it wasn't because of his mom's cooking. She just doesn't like certain foods, and like that's not her fault. Some people have issues with food. I'm a very picky eater. However, bringing a meal just for herself, maybe she could like bring a dish. Maybe they could make it more of like a potluck type thing, so she could bring a couple things that she'll like and have enough to share with other people who might also like it. I don't know, but to just tell her not to come just because your mom's going to be upset that she doesn't like her cooking. Okay, let me read the update. Update. My wife has decided to go spend Thanksgiving with her family, who by the way live hours away, so this means unnecessary travel expenses, and basically ditched me for a whole week. Y'all happy now? So I wonder what people, I need to read the comments, see what people are saying. Why are you mad that she's going to spend family time with her family for Thanksgiving when you uninvited her with your family? I don't blame her. I'm going to go see my family then. If you don't want me to come, I'm going to go see my family, and they probably have food I like anyway. Though I appreciate some insightful comments on the situation, some others not so much, especially with those assumptions claiming that my wife has allergies. She does not. It doesn't matter if she doesn't have allergies. That doesn't mean she have to eat food that she doesn't like just because she's not allergic to it. If she's gone to your mom's Thanksgiving a number of times and still doesn't like the food that your mom is preparing, I don't see a problem with her bringing something that she likes. Maybe just bring like an entire dish of it to share with other people. I don't know. But anyway, it's all good now, I guess, though I'm not too thrilled with her decision. I feel like she's doing it to spite me or get me to cave in. I don't feel like she's trying to spite. Maybe she's trying to spite you. Or maybe it's just that you uninvited her to Thanksgiving, so she made other plans. How can you be upset with her when you told her not to come to your family's Thanksgiving, so she made other plans? You want her to stay at home alone by herself? She's going to be with her family. Okay, let me look at a couple of these comments. Wow, it has 8,400 comments. And this post actually was deemed asshole, so I guess they really don't like you. That many people commented saying that you're the asshole. First comment, you're the asshole. She offered a compromise. Exactly. My wife's family does the Feast of the Seven Fishes. I don't know what that is. I hate fish. So since I joined the family at the Feast of the Seven Fishes and a chicken. See, we all get a good laugh, and my mother-in-law is happy to make it for me. Right. If you sit and talk to your mother, but if your mom is that unwilling to compromise, why? It's not that big of a deal if she brings something that she likes. Why is it a big deal? I don't understand. I need to look at what this Feast of Seven Fishes are. I like fish, but not that much. Someone replied, my family did the 7 fishes and a chicken and a baked ziti because I too don't eat fish. It's not that big of a deal to either bring or make something else. Everyone else has some of the non-fish dishes too. Exactly. Like, just bring something to share with everybody. You could have made that suggestion. Like, instead of like having to yourself, make something like a dish of something that's your favorite dish, whether it's a casserole, whatever, and bring it and share it with everybody. They might like it too. It might become a tradition to have like a potluck style Thanksgiving. There's nothing wrong with that. Why are you so up in arms about your wife wanting to eat something different because she doesn't like the food that your mother-in-law cooks? So much to uninvite her from a major holiday. Sir, you're the asshole. I'm sorry, but you're the asshole. Oh, so the Feast of Seven Fishes is an Italian tradition? Sounds interesting and delicious. Next story. Am I the asshole for canceling plans for Thanksgiving after my parents called their brother's baby their first grandchild? I, 32 female, have been with my wife Ava, 34 female, for 8 years now, but we've been married for 5. She was a single mom of 3 kids when we started dating. She had 2 stepdaughters, now 10 and 12, and a son, now 16. I've watched these kids grow up. I've read them bedtime stories, done bath time, the first days of schools, PTA meetings, all of it. I very much consider them to be my kids, and they've been calling me mom for almost 6 years now. My brother Ivan, 28 male, just had a baby girl with his fiancée Sarah, 27 female. I love my niece, and my kids adore their cousin. My kids have been the only grandchildren on my side of the family since Ava and I got together, and there's never been a moment where the kids and my wife were treated like they don't belong. My brother is their uncle, my mom and dad are their nana and pop. These kids see my family as their family, and I always thought that my family felt the same way about them. The kids and I were over at my brother's house just hanging out, and my parents ended up dropping by with gifts for my niece. Ivan laughed when he saw the toys and told our mom and dad that they were going to end up spoiling her rotten. My mom said since my niece is their first grandchild, of course they have to spoil her. Wow. And you said that, did you say that in front of the other kid? Well, yes. My kids were sitting in the living room with all of us, and my youngest daughter looked hurt when she realized what my mother said. My son and my 12-year-old didn't fully react to it, but I could tell it bothered the 2 of them too. Sarah spoke up and said, "Oh, you mean first grandbaby, not first grandchild?" My dad shook his head and replied that my niece was their first grandchild. I didn't even want my kids to keep sitting and listening to that, so I handed my son my keys and told him to wait in the car with his sisters. When they were gone, I asked my parents why the hell they say that my kids weren't their grandchildren, and my mom said they couldn't be their grandchildren because they weren't really my children. What is wrong with people? It doesn't matter if she didn't pop them out of her vajayjay. They're still her kids. Whether they're her stepkids, whether she adopted them, they're her kids, they're your grandkids. Why are people like this? I don't get it. My wife and I were going to be hosting Thanksgiving at our house this year, but I told my parents that if they didn't view my kids as their family, then they could just host a meal at their own house with their real family while I spent the holiday with mine. I left before they could say anything else to me, and my wife and I have reiterated to the children that they will always be my kids and I will always be their mom, regardless of our DNA. Exactly, DNA does not matter when it comes to family. Your parents suck. I hate people like that. Family is whatever you make of it. You don't have to be blood related to somebody for them to be your family. And for her to just say those kids aren't her grandkids and the grandfather too. My brother is pissed at me now because he thinks I reacted too harshly and that I should try to see where my parents are coming from. My mom texted saying that she and my dad love the kids, but they still aren't their grandchildren, and she hopes that we come to understand that because she doesn't want this to ruin my niece's first Thanksgiving. If you love the kids and they've been a part of your lives for 6+ years, how can you say they're not your grandchildren? It doesn't matter that they're not related. If your daughter considers these kids to be her children, I don't know if she legally adopted them or not, they're her children, and if they're her children and you're her mother and father, you're their grandparents. Why is that hard to grasp? I haven't replied back. I meant what I said, but I'm worried that maybe I'm reacting too harshly. I don't think you're reacting harshly at all. Okay, so she added some ETA info. I adopted all 3 of the kids about 4 years ago, so they aren't just my parents' step-grandchildren. Even if I hadn't legally adopted them, they'd still be my kids in my eyes. Right, she legally adopted them before they are legally her children, before they are legally your grandchildren. What is wrong with you people? Edit number 2. My wife's parents don't have a relationship with the kids. When my wife came out, they pretty much stopped speaking with her entirely. Horrible, trash parents. Horrible, trash parents on both sides, to be quite honest. Her parents are being homophobic. Your parents, I don't know if they're homophobic, if that's their reason for not accepting your kids as their kids, but they got some serious issues going on to say these kids ain't their grandkids when you adopted them. Their bio dad is not involved, and neither is his family. He lost his rights to the children before Ava and I started dating. The 10-year-old has never met him, the 12-year-old doesn't remember him, and the 16-year-old wants nothing to do with him. My parents wanted the kids to call them Nana and Pop. I didn't make the kids start calling them that. If you suggested that these kids call you pretty much Grandma and Grandpa, how can you then say they're not your grandkids? You're not making any type of sense whatsoever. So now that you have like a blood granddaughter, you just gonna throw these kids to the side, throw them in the trash because they're not your blood relatives? You're horrible people. Well, that's it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Tell me down in the comments below what your thoughts are. Thanks for watching. See you guys next time. Bye.